Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me, and I am back. This is part 2 of What If Deku had a glitch quirk. As always, if you enjoy, please show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. And make sure to check the links in the description for the Discord that we have. I'm not super active in it, but if you guys can get a little bit more active in the Discord, maybe I'll start trying to be more active over there. Also, if you want to leave what if suggestions, though, that is probably the best place to do it because it's like the easiest for me to find stuff in. Now, with that said, though, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's get right into the what if. Let's get it. Izuku Midoriya is about to face down Katsuki Bakugo and Tenya Ida. Now, for starters, he doesn't have anything against Bakugo. Honestly, they're okay friends, but not amazing friends. Izuku spent a lot of his life, like I've said before, kind of in his own world. He's kind of just, been working with his mother and looking forward to being a scientist and stuff like that. So he doesn't really have that much against Bakugo. Now, same thing with Bakugo. Bakugo doesn't have a crazy grudge against him, but he also really wants to show that he's a better hero than Izuku, or potentially going to be a better hero than Izuku. But as always, Izuku's going to try to find the best way to figure things out, the best way to actually approach this kind of scenario to touch the bomb. Now, to touch the bomb is very simple. Izuku begins to kind of use Ochako as kind of a misguiding type of tool, where she's kind of gonna look around and stake out the area just a little bit, but avoid all kind of fighting and so on. Now, Izuku, on the other hand, is going to try and phase and glitch through different walls to basically find different areas, and as he's doing this, he would actually come across the bomb pretty quickly, but he wants to make sure that both of them are actually there when they actually touch this bomb. So he goes and grabs Ochako and brings her over to the area. He basically tells her, look, I need you to float us up toward this window, and once you do, then we can basically stick to the wall and get through this window and basically touch the bomb. And when she does, but it is a bit of a struggle for her because she doesn't have amazing control over her quirk. Her control isn't really the best in the world, and she has a hard time doing it, but Izuku's able to guide her for the most part and able to reach the destination that they are looking for. Once they are able to reach that destination, they're able to enter this area and enter where the bomb is, and they're able to touch the said bomb without really anybody even reacting to it, which seems kind of crazy because you have two other students that are borderline ready to basically stop them from touching this bomb. But, well, they have nothing to stop. They can't stop Izuku from glitching past the wall, and they touch the bomb, and the series of training is over. Izuku is able to show what he's really capable of. He's able to show how quick and concise certain things and how quick he can truly be. But as things kind of progress, Izuku watches many others kind of go about things, and watches as many others kind of do their own thing and kind of do their own kind of approach to different types of circumstances, you could say. And a lot of them have easy successions, which that would include someone like Todoroki, who would just freeze the whole area and be done with it, and it would be over, right? There's something simple like that. But Izuku would watch all of them be done and concluded, and then eventually would lead them to the rest of their classes and stuff like that, leading them to the very next day, which would be their entry into rescue training with the USJ. The USJ is something that Izuku is very, very interested in because it's something that he actually hasn't really gotten a grasp on entirely. This is a rescue portion of training. Rescue portions of training are very important and very, very, very serious when dealing with kind of hero work. But when they would all arrive, they would all be, having a good time on the bus, just reacting to others' quirks and talking about them and blah, blah, blah. When they would arrive, they would meet Pro Hero 13, and as they're guided through the USJ, learning about different things, they would learn of something else. And this something else that they would learn of is actually the invasion of villains. Villains would begin pouring out of portals, and initially some people would think, oh, this is crazy, this is a pretty cool training facility, but that's not the case. This right here is actual villains, real life villains, and they begin pouring out and trying to actually hurt the students. Izuku would see this, and before he could really react, he would see a portal that would open up right in front of all of them, about to basically engulf them all in a giant portal, sending them all in basically different directions. But before the portal can actually consume them all, Izuku would jump forward as he would reach out and he would begin to actually turn the portal into static. It seems like he's able to reach out and have an effect on the portal itself, making it glitch out and actually kind of consume itself as it disappears and actually shows the person that is behind the portal, being that of Kurogiri and his metal body. This would immediately shock everybody, being that, well, they didn't know Izuku could shut down stuff like that, and Izuku didn't really know either, but it seems like he has a lot more of a connection to quirks and so on than he could possibly imagine. Izuku would watch as Aizawa would butcher through a ton of these other villains, handling them with ease, like very easily defeating villain after villain. And of course, it's not too big of a trouble for Izuku to basically hop in if he wanted to hop in to actually help out. But Izuku basically is told to stand still, don't move, and don't do anything too rash, which Izuku would listen to for the most part, as Aizawa would cut through all of the villains that are currently there. But as Izuku actually looks down, and as the last villain, as the minor villains are handled, it seems like, well, Aizawa's gonna have to take on some other villains as well, being that Kurogiri would leave to help out Shigaraki, and basically they would overwhelm Aizawa very quickly. The Nomu would charge at him and in brute strength would lay a blow crucial and critical to Aizawa, and it would send him spiraling and flying backwards. But as Izuku sees this, he would kind of jump in the way, and he would be able to slow down the momentum of Aizawa for the most part, and be able to help him not, go splat on the frickin' wall. Which Izuku would immediately try to get Aizawa out of there, but the Nomu would come surging back forward, going to actually try and hurt them once again. But of course, Izuku would begin to actually phase both of them, and as he phases both of them, he's able to basically stop this from happening. He's basically able to stop Aizawa from getting hurt even further, is what I mean, right? He stops him from getting hurt even further, which is good. Of course, this is really good because, we don't want Aizawa to be absolutely splat on the wall permanently. So it's good that they're able to limit the damage, and Izuku's able to get him out of there, and he tells Aizawa to hang in there, that he's going to basically hold them off until reinforcements arrive, in which Aizawa tells him that that's a really bad idea, that he should not put himself in harm's way the way he's going to, but Izuku tells him not to worry, that he has it handled, that he can handle it, in which Izuku would stand face to face basically with the Nomu. The Nomu would come surging back at Izuku, looking to actually face him down, looking to actually strike Izuku, but Izuku, of course, would actually phase out of it, allowing himself to move out of the way and basically not be affected by the Nomu entirely. And as he's basically in the Nomu, in the entirety of the Nomu, he's going to basically start phasing through him and glitching out the Nomu's body. In doing this, he could feel something within the Nomu, not only the quirks, but also the person the Nomu once was. But it seems like he's able to basically shake the quirks, as if he's able to affect the Nomu's body via his glitch. And as he's glitching through the Nomu, he's having an effect on all the quirks that the Nomu has, but also the durability the Nomu has entirely. Izuku basically gets out of the Nomu, but feels exhausted, feels extremely tired, and is basically unable to react extremely quickly to much else. Izuku can only think about trying to get out of there, at least at the moment, and as he's basically stagnant at this moment, it seems as if the hand of Shigaraki would go flying through a portal. As this hand would go through a portal, well, Shigaraki would then try and grab Izuku by the face. Izuku would trying to react to this grab, trying to react and basically dodge out of the way or face through it, but he barely gets his face off as Shigaraki's hand goes through him entirely. But Shigaraki tells him that he'll just keep his hand right here because guess what? The kid can't hold on for eternity, and eventually he'll run out of time. In which this would shock Izuku, thinking that, well, this guy's insane. Like, he's really going to try and hold him here or hold this here the entire time. But luckily, as he's struggling, as Izuku is trying his best to basically continue to phase and move out of the way, well, he would hear a familiar voice. He would hear, "I am here," in which All Might himself would begin spiraling toward Izuku, stopping this from happening, stopping more or less this attack on Izuku. And now he comes face to face with, well, the one and only Nomu and Shigaraki, of course, but he's going to have to deal with the Nomu and going to have to face him down, and his raw strength might be even comparable to All Might himself. But here's the thing, even though that is the truth, even though it might be comparable, or his strength might be comparable at one point to All Might's, it no longer is. It seems like all the weakening that Izuku did, all the kind of messing with the quirks and messing with the body of the Nomu, all the kind of sabotage, you could even call it, would then lead to the Nomu being far weaker, and the Nomu would get taken down in almost one foul swoop, leading to All Might saving a ton of energy and also a lot of time on his own quirk, which Izuku doesn't really know about, but still is something to kind of think about. Now, Izuku's effect on the Nomu has allowed All Might to successfully beat him in one foul swoop, but Shigaraki and Kurogiri are still on their feet and ready for a fight. But it seems like Kurogiri has other ideas, because in his mind, they do not win this fight. It doesn't matter that Izuku is basically down for the count for the most part, and All Might, who is completely refreshed and without the backup of the Nomu, they will just lose this. And essentially, they have no choice into falling back and hoping that they get a different and another opportunity to actually successfully kill All Might. So they leave within a portal, but Izuku, as they're leaving, would then reach out. And as he reaches out, he begins to throw something, an odd looking thing, but not necessarily a technological piece, but it's actually something that is bonded based on his quirk. It's a very weird looking item, looking like basically static and glitch and different fragments. And as it lands on Shigaraki, Shigaraki would have no clue. But it seems as if Izuku was able to shoot some sort of projectile that now landed on Shigaraki, and now he can feel the presence and also the kind of where Shigaraki currently is at this moment. He doesn't know if this will last forever because he doesn't know if Shigaraki will find it. But at this moment, Izuku would basically struggle his way over, and he would tell the Aizawa, who is not fully completely out of it and actually probably better off than Izuku at this moment, he would tell him that he put something on Shigaraki that would allow him to stay connected, in which Aizawa would nod his head and would basically tell him that he needs to get some rest first, but then they can talk about locations as well, which he does get some rest. He feels a lot better, but when he awakens, he has a massive headache. It's as if he basically has kind of like a hangover of some sorts. But as he meets with Aizawa, they would pull out a locations map of Japan, and Izuku is able to spot exactly where it is almost instantaneously. Now, this map would be kind of a weird way for him to find it, but Izuku can visualize the exact location of the piece that was sent over. But as Izuku points it out, the piece would then fizzle out and disappear. Izuku would circle the location and his headache would go away. He would tell him that that's the location that he was last at, but the piece of him is gone now. It seems like that was causing his headache and the lack of his ability to kind of heal and recover. And it seems like he stretched himself way too thin, to the point where he feels like his body is kind of doing a weird surge, as if he still needs to calm down and kind of restore his energy to a large extent. In which Aizawa nods his head and says that whatever it is, he should take the time to relax. They have a couple days before the UA Sports Festival, and if he decides that he's not ready for it, then they'll figure out whatever's to come, but he needs to relax and store up as much energy as possible these next couple days, in which Izuku agrees. But during these next couple days, he would actually get a message from Mei Hatsume. Mei Hatsume would call him in to basically work with some of the technology. She would hear about his little sickness and would even bring up something that would be interesting to Izuku. It would be something that would actually make him very interested in this whole collaboration with her specifically. And what was that? Well, maybe because his lack of connection with technology recently might have led to kind of him not having enough power or storage or strength within, and that's what he needs. He needs more power. He needs to actually restore himself with technology surrounding him, in which Izuku would begin to work with Mei Hatsume with various different technology, and it does make him feel a lot better, restores him to a large degree, but also makes him feel a bit empty. It seems like nothing he does really fits, and it might sound weird, but he has a kind of a connection with technology, but the connection itself feels like it's halfway plugged in. He doesn't know why. He doesn't know what it's all about, but he feels as if his technological kind of connection, yes, it's there, yes, it's usable, and yes, it's still powerful, but it feels like he's not fully connected, not fully immersed, and he has no idea what that means and what that is truly all about, but he has to really think on it. And Mei Hatsume obviously would bring up her own ideas and would believe that maybe his ability to glitch out in this world is affecting his connection with technology itself. It seems like the glitching out has now affected both sides of him and both sides of his quirk, and it's now continuously affecting him, and maybe there's more to it, in which she basically tells him to get out and says that she's working on something and she'll call him back later, in which he leaves, and then a day and a half later she would call him back, in which he would enter to see that there would be some sort of a chamber. This chamber would be odd, but he would be concerned about what she's got in mind, because he doesn't want to, straight up die. In which she says that's ridiculous. There's only like a small chance, or a medium chance, or maybe a large chance of him dying, but still, there's nothing to really worry about. In which Izuku is very concerned about this, but Izuku walks in this chamber that she has created, and electrical surges begin to surge all around. Izuku would be shocked by this, but it seems like the electricity is basically pulsing toward him. He doesn't feel a single thing, like it's not hurting him or anything like that, but it does make him feel more grounded, stronger. In which he walks out, he feels like the surge of energy was something he needed, something like he was lacking, in which Mei Hatsume says that it seems like it's a little odd. Now, it might sound interesting and different, but it seems like the more he glitches, the more his body is actually stretching itself between two different worlds. Now, it might sound really, really difficult to believe, but it seems like his body itself isn't really wired to be in one or the other, but when it stretches between both is when he starts feeling the lack of basically energy, lack of everything. It's kind of like not seeing the sun ever. he begins to lack that vitamin that he needs so crucially to survive. In which Izuku nods his head and says, yeah, that makes sense, sort of. In which Mei would say that he needs to implement technology massively into everything he does, but also stay grounded. Feel the earth on his feet. Understand that he's still here, because if he doesn't, and he starts feeling this odd sensation of leaving, this odd sensation of distance between him and reality, then he may start realizing very quickly that he is no longer going to be on this planet. In which Izuku would be completely shocked by this, asking how the hell did she figure all this out, and she says that she hasn't slept for a day and a half, and and it's all still a theory, so nothing is concluded for sure. In which Izuku would shake his head and say thanks, and would basically help her out where he can in the future. And of course she would say there's no problem at all, but yes, he will be helping her out in the near future. But even with all that said, we have the UA Sports Festival coming up very, very, very shortly, but Izuku himself is kind of feeling odd about actually participating in it. He feels like, yes, it would be a good chance for him to show off his powers, but at the same time, it could lead to some very, very odd things happening. But like she said, all he has to do is stay grounded. He has to feel that he's still here even when he glitches, even when he's gone, in which he begins to glitch in place and he just feels this sensation and looks through his own eyes, and he can see that there is a split between this reality and a technological or different frequency of a reality, and he understands what she means as he shifts his focus toward this reality, toward his normal state of being, and his glitch becomes more stable. As he stops glitching out, he would then feel good. He would feel fine, and he would understand exactly what needs to be done. And the UA Sports Festival, yes, it's very important and something he's going to participate in, and he decides that he's going to participate even though he's going to be a bit late. He would just arrive, and many people would wonder, well, who was going to do the speech, and it would actually be Bakugo this time around, because even though Izuku did really well in the exam, they decide, hey, we're just going to have Bakugo do it because we're not sure if Izuku's going to be here. And Bakugo does it, and Izuku would arrive shortly after, and everybody would be happy to see him for the most part. And of course, Midnight would say that it is now time for the first event, being that of the obstacle course race. Izuku would focus on feeling this reality, a focus on understanding that he is still here, and as he begins to run forward with everybody, as everybody would go through this kind of skinny tunnel of some sort and this odd obstacle, Izuku would begin to glitch out, phase, and as he phases, he would fly forward extremely fast. He would feel that, yes, everything he is doing is the opposite of reality. When he phases, he's doing the opposite of what his body is made to do. Instead of walking, he has to do the opposite and understand that it's the opposite and feel everything as it happens. His body stops glitching out and he begins to fly naturally, as if he's able to fly entirely with the power he has, with his glitch-like power and his connection to whatever this electromagnetic field is giving him, which, by the way, the Earth has just that. So having himself grounded and understanding that the Earth that he is standing on and or floating above is still the Earth he is a part of is a big part of utilization of his quirk. He flies over literally all the obstacles and beats everybody. But as he lands, he could feel that even his body is still not used to it yet. That flight itself took a ton out of him, and he begins to ground himself, feeling the surge of energy slowly but surely matriculating through his body, as if he's feeling the Earth's electromagnetic pulse and feeling, and it begins to surge him back. Now, it's not super quick, but since he grounded himself and now this feeling is surging him as well, he can now understand and feel that this is helping him massively, and it seems like him glitching out and him being stable at the same time with the earth and also what surrounds him is a big part of his quirk, which is ironic because he was thinking that the whole glitch portion is he should thrive in that, thrive in the chaos, but that's not the case. That he doesn't want to thrive in that chaos. He needs to have a little bit of both, because without it, he's not going to be able to maintain full control. And as all this would go through his head, everybody would begin to finish, and they would all lead to the cavalry battle. And a lot of people would want to be with Izuku, but Izuku would take on the normal people he goes with, especially with Mei Hatsume, and owing that favor to her with the information that she basically gained over a day and a half of straight up just brainstorming everything she possibly could. So him, Oshako, Mei Hatsume, and Tokiyami would all be together in terms of this cavalry battle. Now, the cavalry battle is a pretty basic one. Nobody necessarily targets Izuku, but they also would like to have his 10 million point band. But they all know that Izuku is very, very powerful. And as he stands there and he tells them to basically fend off for themselves for a moment, as he would sit there and connect with the electromagnetic field of the earth, and as he would bond with it, it seems like there's a odd little bubble that would come over them. As this bubble would shield them, it would then disappear and become transparent, and as people would charge at them trying to get through it, it would feel as if there's nothing there, that there's a bubble that is bouncing them back over and over again, and Izuku refuses to allow anybody to get closer, in which is completely amazing, and all of them are completely shocked by this as well, thinking that Izuku is amazing, that his power is insane. And Mei Hatsume would then see and be in awe about Izuku's capabilities with his quirk, and it seems like he's going to be able to use it to its fullest potential, or at least to an extent. Now, this would win them the cavalry battle. No joke about it. This would easily win them the cavalry battle, and this would take them to the 1 versus 1s. Izuku would face off with Shinso, and Shinso would actually catch him in his mind control. And as he does, Izuku would feel different, would feel that he is a passenger in his body, but he's felt like this before. And as he feels this sensation, he would ground himself, making it so his feet would not move. Yes, Shinso tells him to walk off, but his feet will not move, as if there's magnets that are sticking him to the earth itself. Izuku would smirk just a little bit as he would realize that Shinso's powers have made him realize something else about his quirk, something else that he didn't even know in the first place. And the more he learns about it, the more he realizes that his quirk truly might be limitless, might have the potential of just everything. Izuku could feel the sensation of being connected to the ground, and eventually Shinso would give up, breaking the mind control, and Izuku would dash at him in a split second, kicking him out of the ring, and it's a done deal. Shinso is eliminated, and Izuku goes on to the very next round. And that very next round is against Shoto Todoroki, someone with massive power, massive strength, and well, it seems like Endeavor, someone that is very close, aka the father of Shoto Todoroki, would tell Izuku and basically threaten Izuku in a way to basically get his son to use his fire side, in which Izuku doesn't really want anything to do with this. He doesn't want anything to do with trying to get the most power out of Todoroki. He doesn't care. He doesn't want anything to do with his negligent father. That's the last thing he wants. But at the same time, Izuku does want to see the potential of Todoroki, and as they fight and as they go head to head, Izuku would have the ability to basically clash with him and dissipate his body through the ice and anything that is thrown at him. Izuku would stand in front of him saying that this is easy, that this is something that he wasn't ready for, something that he couldn't be prepared for. And the only thing that he could have done was try to use all of his power, everything from fire to ice, to try to defeat him. But even that, it wouldn't be enough. it wouldn't even be close. In which Izuku tells him this, and out of rage, Todoroki would spark a flame, shooting ice and fire at him at the same time. But Izuku would phase through it all. But as he's phasing through it all, he could feel this large surge of electricity surrounding him. And then he would immediately kick Todoroki out of the ring as he could feel this overexertion and this overuse of his quirk. As he continues to vibrate, as he continues to glitch, Izuku would feel electrical pulses striking him over and over again, to the point where it's now hurting him, feeling like a punch in the guts and shattering, as if it's shattering his ribs. And Izuku would scream. And as he would scream, gone. He would be gone. Everybody stands there, and all they see is this kind of outline of him. This kind of scarred, or kind of this electrical kind of fire in a way that has been burnt over his own outline. And it seems that Izuku is just gone. They have no idea where he went, what happened to him, or where he could even possibly be. But Izuku sits there in this unknown place. This unknown place, but an unknown place that feels so familiar. But as he looks around, he can tell that it's not the same thing and not the same as he's ever known. Izuku has glitched out and gone somewhere else. He looks at his body and looks at his hands, and then realizes this isn't the Japan he once knew, and this isn't the UA high school that he once knew as well. Because where he stands normally is the center of the stadium for the UA Sports Festival, but now it's just a courtyard. It's just a normal place where kids have lunch and stuff like that. The stadium no longer in the presence right there. The stadium no longer there, and UA High School is a lot different. But that is the end of part 2 of What If Deku Had a Glitch Quirk. If you enjoyed, please show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed part 2. And yeah, look out for part 3, hopefully coming tomorrow. But yeah, with that said, hope you guys enjoyed. I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.